Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Painting with Victor Rigoli. Back in the studio this morning doing a little painting, working on something here. This is a little 6 by 9 inch panel. This is MDF board. It's a 3/16 board, and I have prepped this board because I put some sealant on the back here as a moisture barrier. I have put about 4 coats or so of gesso on this particular board. What I did here, I toned this canvas with a little bit of raw sienna and maybe a little bit of yellow ochre, but that was an acrylic that I used. And I'm going to be painting an oil painting, doing an oil painting. And I've got this sketched out. This is like what I call like a little fall scene. I'm taking this and using this picture from a Facebook group that I'm in. I think it was free reference photos for artists, that kind of thing, where these photographers that are just awesome, they will come in and they'll post pictures, some of their pictures, photos and things like that, and they'll allow us artists to use them in creating some of our artwork. And I saw this one and I thought it was pretty cool. It's got a field right here kind of toward the bottom and a grayish sky, and I've kind of drawn in a few little like crows that are flying there. And I had originally put in a horizon line about like right in here, okay, and drew in the little barn shack in the background and a little makeshift scarecrow. And this is just something that I'm doing kind of as a practice, and maybe you know, looking at colors and things like that, just a kind of little practice painting here, a study, I guess you could call it. And I got to looking at my photo reference, and I had it up on my computer screen, which is, a little bit to the right of this video here, this screen here that you're seeing. And I was looking at it, I brought it up in a little editor there, and I said, well, gosh, this picture on my computer is about the same size as this, but yet I have my horizon line a little bit lower. And I said, well, maybe I should raise it up a little bit. It's not, see, about right here is the halfway mark. I don't want my horizon to be right in the middle. Doesn't mean you can't do that, but it's kind of a one of those rules that we have is don't put it right in the middle. Don't put your focal point right in the middle. The focal point is, kind of in here, a little bit more on the house. But what I decided to do was raise the horizon line up a little bit, and the wheat field and straw will be down in here. The house will be, and barn will be a little bit bigger up in here. And then of course the scarecrow will be right in here. So I'm going to make that all a little bit bigger. Now I could leave it like it is. I don't think it would be too bad for that. It kind of really pushes it really, with the pencil drawing that I've got now, as you can see that I'm pointing to this little barn looking thing and the scarecrow, with it being small and the horizon line lower, it really pushes it back into the picture. Okay, with the horizon line higher and making the house there bigger, it will bring it forward into the painting. So I'm going to play around with it. Like I said, this is just a study. The more I look at it, I kind of like, in a way, maybe going back to this original design and just leaving it small like that. But I don't know, I may do one and then turn around and do another one, because I made a bunch of these panels. I probably got 30 or more of these panels that I made out of a large piece of 3/16 or 3/8 MDF board that I got at the local box store like Home Depot, and I had it cut, and then I cut it into smaller pieces and everything. I've got some other panels here that I'm going to be working on. This is one that I had out in the shop, and it's also MDF, but this is an MDF board that's a 1/4 inch, and it's a little bit different. But then I cut it down to size. It is a a 6x8, and I got a little winter scene drawn on there, and I sanded all this off. This was used to have oil paint all over it, and I sanded it all off, and I'm just going to reuse it. And that's what this is. I've got another one here that I'm going to be working on. That is a little marsh scene. I've got some marsh and water in the foreground, and there's some beautiful clouds and stuff like that. So I got several of these little panels that I'm going to be working on and doing little studies, and some of them I may turn into a full-blown larger painting that may go on MDF board or panel, canvas panel, or it could go on the canvas. But anyway, just wanted to share that with you. When drawing things out and getting your composition, one of the things that I did is I did sketch this one out and doing a little, you call it a thumbnail. I know some artists do small little thumbnails, like 1.5 by 1.5 or whatever. I can't do it that small. I've tried. It just doesn't work for me. I end up doing a little bit larger, sometimes 3 inches by 2 inches and that kind of thing, because that way I can really get some stuff in there that I need to, and get my shapes in and all the shapes in and that kind of thing, and get the proportions down. And usually what I'll do is I'll take that thumbnail and I'll do a grid on my MDF board or canvas, and I'll draw out, spec out, the scene that I've composed, and then, I start painting. But the beauty of painting with oils and also being an artist is you can change it on the fly. You don't have to stick to that original plan because it might not be working. Just like I drew this out earlier, and even though I've already sprayed it with workable fixative, because this is in watercolor pencil, I use workable fixative. I'll spray that on there because that way when I start painting this, the little drawing won't come off and excuse me, mix in with your paint. And then it gives me, a blueprint, so to speak. So I could, as I start painting, I could realize that, hey, I like the horizon line being a little higher, but then again, I may just decide to go with what I originally planned. I came back in here and added another horizon line with a watercolor pencil, and just to show you, I get these little wipes at Walmart, and there's 48 wipes in a pack, and you can get about 5 or 6 packs in a bundle, and I'll just use these, and I can come right in here now because that line hadn't been sprayed, and I can just wipe that line out, and that horizon line's gone now. So I really like these little wipes and everything, especially when I spec things out. I do my little grid with a watercolor pencil. I can come back and wipe that grid away, because you got to be careful. And if you're using a darker color, charcoal, watercolor pencil, and you using some paint that's very transparent, that watercolor line can show through. And sometimes no matter how many coats of that color you're trying to put on there, it's still showing through. So you got to be careful with that and how that works. But anyway, just a little video here. This is something I'm going to be working on. Play around with it. Like I said, I came in and put another horizon line in there, and the more I got to looking at it, it seemed like it was more into the center. This is actually the middle of the panel, and I had it just about maybe a ½ inch or an inch below that, and I didn't like it. And I got to looking at it now, and I think, yeah, I'm going to go with my original plan. So you learn from it, you experiment with it. That hopefully will make you a better artist as you go along. You can try different things, and once we get the paint on here, and as you start applying the paint, you may change something along the way. I've got three little crows over here and about 4 over here. I may mix it up and that kind of thing. There's going to be like a little crow or bird down here and everything, and I could add some other stuff into the field if I wanted to. But anyway, take care, everybody. Please give me a thumbs up to my content, like it. Also, subscribe to the channel so you will get notifications on when I put things out on YouTube. And if there's something you'd like for me to cover in the future, drop me a note below in the comments section. I'll also have in the show notes or description how you can get in touch with me, email, email and that kind of thing. I am on social media. I am on social media, Instagram at Victor Rigoli Fine Art, and you can find me on Facebook at Victor Rigoli Fine Art. But anyway, take care, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.